In the heart of a sprawling metropolis stood a crimson-lit building, infamous yet revered by many, Crimson City. It wasn't just a high-rise. It was a maze of ambition, betrayal, secrets, and power games that rivaled any political empire. The building was designed to be a luxury residence, but over time, it had become something else entirely. A throne room for the powerful, a battlefield for the desperate, and a graveyard for truth. Ayan Shah was a journalist on the verge of professional irrelevance, holding onto his last thread of integrity in a city where truth had long been bought and buried. Years of chasing headlines had dulled his hope, but a whispered tip brought him to Crimson City. Someone inside had evidence, concrete proof, of a political conspiracy that could shake the entire country. Ayan didn't ask who. He just packed his recorder, camera, and notebook and rented a small apartment on the 17th floor. He hadn't been there long when he met Zoya Malik. She was quiet, composed, and elusive, a woman who spoke with her eyes more than her words. She lived 2 floors above him, always returning home late, dressed in muted tones, often carrying sketchbooks or canvases. People believed she was just an artist, an introvert buried in her designs, but there was more behind her silence, a tragedy that never healed, a storm brewing beneath her calm. Zoya's father had been murdered in that very building 10 years ago. Officially, it was recorded as a break-in gone wrong, but she had always known it was a cover-up. Her father, once an ethical civil engineer, had uncovered corruption in the building's original contracts, linking Crimson City to one of the most feared political figures in the country, Haroon Beg. Her father had refused to stay quiet. A week later, he was dead. Zoya had stayed in the building not out of attachment, but out of a cold, calculated need for answers. She believed the building still held the truth, and she was determined to find it, no matter how long it took. Over the years, she had grown used to fear, threats, and loneliness. She didn't trust easily, but there was something about Ayan, something tired, wounded, and familiar, that disarmed her. Their first meeting was unremarkable, an elevator ride interrupted by a power glitch. But in those dimly lit 30 seconds, something passed between them. Not attraction, not yet, but recognition. 2 people with unfinished stories. 2 people clinging to purpose in a city built on lies. Ayan began his investigation carefully, trying not to draw attention. But Crimson City wasn't a place where secrets stayed hidden for long. Rayyan Beg, Haroon's only son, noticed Ayan's presence almost immediately. He was everything his father had trained him to be: cold, charming, entitled, and lethal. He ruled the building with unspoken authority, treating its halls like his personal kingdom. Rayyan had always been drawn to Zoya, not with love, but with possession. He saw her as an unsolved puzzle, a prize his father had failed to eliminate. Zoya had refused him before, and he hadn't forgiven her. So when he noticed her spending time with Ayan, his pride curdled into jealousy. Ayan was now not just a threat to their secrets, he was a rival. Despite the danger, Zoya and Ayan grew closer. Through late-night conversations and quiet cups of coffee, Zoya began to open up. She showed him her father's old blueprints, her years of notes, and the pieces of evidence she had gathered in silence. Ayan, in turn, shared his own brokenness, a career dismantled by censorship, a past filled with regret. Together, they formed a fragile alliance, built on mutual pain and a shared hunger for justice. One night, while searching a storage room on the top floor, Zoya found what she had been chasing for years, a forgotten security folder with old hard drives. With trembling hands, she played the footage. It showed her father being confronted by 2 men in suits. One of them was unmistakably Haroon Beg. The conversation was brief. Her father refused to back down. Minutes later, the camera glitched, but the audio remained. A single gunshot, then silence. Zoya was frozen. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice was steady when she handed the drive to Ayan. "This is the truth," she whispered. "Make it count." Ayan knew this footage could burn everything down, but with fire came danger. The next morning, he tried to contact his editor. By noon, the footage had been leaked to the newsroom, but nothing aired. By evening, the editor had gone silent, and by nightfall, Ayan received the first threat, a photo of Zoya unconscious in her apartment with a note. One more step, and she doesn't wake up. Ayan rushed to her floor and found the door unlocked. She was on the floor, pale and cold, but alive. Poison. A slow dose. Just enough to warn. Not enough to kill yet. Haroon Beg finally revealed himself. He called Ayan directly, calm and confident. "You want to be a hero," he said. "Tell your story to her gravestone, or walk away and live." For a moment, Ayan was paralyzed. Every instinct told him to save her, to walk away, to disappear. But then he remembered her words, her father's blood, and his own reflection, a man who had given up too many times before. He didn't go to the media. Instead, he went to the people. He uploaded the footage to a secure whistleblower network, leaked it across international platforms, and sent encrypted versions to every major activist group and press house across the country. Within hours, it went viral. The footage ignited outrage. Protests erupted. People gathered outside Crimson City, chanting for justice. News channels, now backed into a corner, aired the story. Haroon and Rayen tried to spin the narrative, but the evidence was undeniable. Even their allies began to retreat. The police had no choice but to act. Haroon Beg and his son were arrested at dawn, escorted out of Crimson City by a force they once owned. The empire had fallen, not by revolution, but by truth, persistence, and pain. Zoya recovered slowly. She watched it all unfold from her hospital bed. The news, the protests, the downfall. But what brought her the most peace wasn't justice. It was knowing that her father's story had finally been heard. His life and his death had meaning again. Ayan visited her often. He didn't bring flowers or apologies. Just silence, presence, understanding. In a city full of noise and deception, sometimes silence was the most honest thing they had. Eventually, Zoya left Crimson City. Not because she was afraid, but because she no longer had a reason to stay. The ghosts had been put to rest. The walls had told their truth. Ayan stayed behind. He didn't want the spotlight or credit. He went back to writing, but this time, he wrote with purpose. Real stories, real people. Crimson City had changed him. It had taken everything and given him back something greater, clarity. The building still stands, bathed in its eerie red glow. New tenants move in, unaware of the battles once fought in its corridors. But for those who know, Crimson City is more than a residence. It's a memory, a grave, a battlefield, a miracle. And somewhere beyond the skyline, a woman sketches her new beginning, and a man writes words that cut deeper than bullets.